Hi everyone, welcome back to What the FinTech, your FinTech Feel Good show. What the FinTech is a news and information platform covering the latest FinTech development in Hong Kong, Singapore, China, and Asia. Join us every week for an engaging conversation with the various Asian tech figures to discuss about entrepreneurships, emerging technologies, customer engagement, and partnerships. And today we have Hansan from SleekFlow. How are you, Hansan?
Yeah, I'm good. Thank you, Medhy.
Great to see you. I saw a lot of buzz about your company recently, so I'm super happy to have you here. It's great to have an entrepreneur like you making a big change into the ecosystems, joining this show. Thank you for this.
Yeah, thank you so much for inviting.
Maybe before we start to speak about the company, we can have like two or three questions about you to just understand who you are, where you
Of
are
course.
from, and what bring you to entrepreneurships.
Yeah, for sure. Um, I am Hanson Tai. I'm founder of SleekFlow. We focus on omnichannel social commerce. I've always wanted to start my own company. I always want to have my own businesses, build values with a group of people, and then fight for the goals, a mutual goal, right? So since high school, I've been working on different projects, but my actual first kind of startup experience comes from my college time in the UK in London, right? So there it's startup competition back in Imperial College, where I actually studied my degree. I actually work with a couple of people from the maths and computer science department, and then we actually have a smart home devices launch with a group project. It actually went really well. We actually built that product and sold that product to a British company and make a decent exit as well, and got some money, and then went back to Hong Kong. And then subsequently, I didn't actually get started immediately, but I start working in investment bank, and that's where I actually saved my first bucket of money to be ready to kind of go for bigger things in the future. So I mean, I've always wanted to start, and I have always paid my journey to this startup.
Okay, very interesting. So you are an entrepreneur by DNA, I want to say, right?
Yeah, I would want to say so.
So, what inspired you to become an entrepreneur, and what was the starting point in your life or turning point in your life to become an entrepreneur?
Well, first of all, I think having stories that you can kind of tell people and inspire people is a great thing to have, right? I don't just want to kind of inspire my kids, my friends. I want to have a group of people and then sharing the same missions, and then people feel inspired going to work every day. And I think I can achieve that by becoming an entrepreneur. I think seeing the whole kind of team grows day by day, taking baby step every day, it's very encouraging, and building something that has values impacting the whole world. It's actually very exciting. And that's actually inspired me to become an entrepreneur.
Perfect, perfect. Maybe we can speak about what is SlickFlow a bit, and can you introduce the solutions to everyone in a couple of words, just to have an understanding of the solutions, and um, after this we can start the discussion about what you are doing really.
Of course, of course. I mean, everyone right now use a lot of apps like Instagram, WhatsApp, and Facebook, right? And then 90% of time of people on the mobile, they spend on scrolling on Instagram feeds, texting their friends or testing maybe a merchant and businesses. So we see that kind of discovering products and buying through a social media channel. It's very common nowadays. There are a lot of Instagram sellers, social media merchants as well, in every part of the world. So SleekFlow is an omni-channel social commerce platform that help companies to consolidate all these kind of social channels in one single place, helping them to manage their orders, run marketing automations, sending payment instructions, and basically help them sell and support better over these kind of messaging channels. So on one single platform, I integrate with apps like WhatsApp, Facebook, Instagram, WeChat, Telegram, all you can name of, right? Also connecting to their order management, payment, CRM system in one single view.
Okay, interesting. So you are bringing a lot of solutions and companies. I'm pretty sure about it. How this idea came to your mind, and how did you put it in place?
Okay, so I mean that goes back to my actually first startup launch in Hong Kong. I actually didn't get started with TikTok immediately after I quit the investment bank. I actually worked on a food takeaway, food delivery project. So back then, launched a platform which allowed people to pick up their lunch with just half of the price. But then I realized it's a very, very competitive market, especially in Hong Kong. The margin is so slim, and then I realized that people, the merchants, the restaurant, they don't really check the app that we gave them for the orders, for the takeaway orders, but they actually have to be reminded on platform like WhatsApp. We have to tell them go check their orders, go check something new. on their WhatsApp. And then a lot of people that I met with, if I go to, let's say, price comparing website, we see that they put up their WhatsApp numbers. A lot of billboards in Hong Kong actually have their Instagram accounts and that as well. So I just start thinking maybe I should just work on helping them to have a better workflow on WhatsApp and Instagram. And that's how I actually get started and get my hand dirty.
Okay, okay. One of my questions is, do you have any do you have any background in this industry? Did you start like from scratch, or maybe it's something you have explored before?
I would say no, it all comes from my personal experience. I am a person who loves to buy. But when I buy things, I like to talk to people because, for example, if you buy a bottle of wine, when you buy a certain kind of skincare product, you want to know if that fits you, right? You want to know, you could get recommendations. You want to compare between different websites, different merchants, right? So I always have that behavior of texting different people. So I was just an end consumer. I am not a person who is experienced in e-commerce, experienced in payment or messaging, but I just love to do it. I love to be part of it.
Do you have like any experience that you had with your first clients who really changed the way that you're operating with your business, or help you to, draft some iteration and create a better flow for those customers you are using?
Okay, so I mean, for me, I always keep an eye on what's happening, right? And then I always learn from the mistakes and the past experience that we have. I mean, as I mentioned, I'm seeing so many things happening in Hong Kong, people putting up in billboards. And then from that kind of conversations with different merchants and companies, I realized that that is actually a big thing. That kind of behavior actually originated from WeChat. So if you know about WeChat, it's an app that people do everything on. People use WeChat to talk to their friends. They talk to companies. They built the whole kind of malls idea, little programs, mini programs actually on WeChat. So I think that behavior is something that inspired me to build something similar to social commerce in China, but then scale to the world in a different manner as well.
Okay, okay. How does your company and the solutions make it different from the big industry, big player for the industry, when they are using your solutions?
Okay, so one thing that we really focus on is helping them to generate sales, revenue accelerator. So we help them to use our software to get more leads, to convert more customers over instant messaging and social media platforms. A lot of other alternatives, competitors, focus a lot on just workflow, customer support, but companies want to see ROI. They want to see how they can use their software to boost the sales of each sales reps, of how to use live streaming tools, of how to use messaging to convert customers right on the fingertips. So that's something that we have built a lot of effort on. We built the whole marketing automation workflow. We built the payment and commerce features into our stacks. So the merchants can manage orders directly on our platform. They can trigger different kind of engagement and promotional message that convert people at the right time.
Do you also integrate your solutions into CRM systems?
Yes, of course. That's a big thing as well. Because if you have to sell to enterprises, building into their workflows is very important, right? A lot of enterprises use platforms like Salesforce, or they would require a lot of integration with, let's say, their third party softwares, right? So building into their workflows, integrate with softwares like HubSpot, Stripe, Shopify, uh, WooCommerce, BigCommerce, all these kind of platforms will be very, very important for us to grow into enterprise.
When you mentioned just before about the sales order management and sales performance tracking, it's a bit of fintech
Yeah.
stats or like features, right? Can you elaborate a bit more about this, please?
Okay, so talking about that kind of payment and transaction things, I want to go back to how we actually charge. So we're SaaS companies. Initially, when we started, we charge with a subscription models based on number of seats, based on their usage and the modules they buy, right? But subsequently, as we develop into payments, right, we start to charge on GMV. So,
Mhm.
for example, I'm a sales rep. I work in a company called Polo Ralph Lauren. So I will talk to my customers when they come visit the stores. I will send them messages, updates on WhatsApp, and then keep them engaged, right? So when there are new kind of seasonal sale, I send them a message. I send them potentially a checkout link as well. If you are a skincare and cosmetics company, there are a lot of repeated purchases. So let's say you come buy a kind of serum 3 months ago. We know that you're going to finish it after 3 months. So the sales rep will just send you a message and saying, "Oh, now we see that you're finishing that serum. You can just click on that link and complete that transactions." So getting back to our kind of pricing models, we charge with a 3% of GMV cuts. So meaning that every transaction we take a 3% cut, and that becomes one of the source of revenue as well.
Very interesting. This is a great business model, I think. I don't see this kind of business model so often here in Hong Kong. So well done for this. One of my questions will be: do you face some challenge when you start first, and do you still face some challenges right now?
Of course, I mean, startups are all about challenges, right? So when we started in Hong Kong, it's very hard. First of all, SaaS companies are not a very common thing in Hong Kong. It's a very popular thing in the US and starting to be in Europe as well. But in Asia, it's not like something that people are willing to pay for. People think software is cheap. They don't want to pay for anything about softwares. But I think in general, COVID helps up speeds up the whole kind of digital transformation. So for us, getting the first anchor customers is very important. So back then, we actually land very big retail customers with over 2,000 agents, 80 physical branches in Hong Kong. That is a client that actually helped us generate so many product feedback and then work into the retail, work into the payment and commerce features, and actually proving our values in the commerce industry. So I think finding that anchor customers in the difficult times and scaling with that persona will be very, very important, yet an obstacle for us at an earlier day.
So, as you mentioned to me before this interview, act fast and stay lean, right?
Yes.
The lean management process. Interesting. Do you see any interesting opportunities on the growth or the potential of these kind of solutions you have right now?
Yes, of course, of course. So first of all, we see that for this market, it's a gigantic market. It's not just something happening in Asia. It's also something happening in, let's say, Latin, Europe, and the US, etc. Right? Everyone is spending their time on social media, discovering products and completing transactions on social media. First insight is that we see that all the big companies, Meta, Facebook, Instagram, WhatsApp, TikTok, Telegram, Fiber, they're all working towards commerce. So social media and commerce are literally come hands in hands. If you want to connect people, you also want to help them to do businesses right. So that's why I think social commerce is a big thing. Right now, it's around a 474 billions market. Majority of them coming from China and some part of Southeast Asia. But we see that kind of volume actually growing 7 to 8 times in the next couple of years, growing to around 4 trillions of markets by 2028. So we see that kind of pie not just expanding in terms of the e-commerce sectors, but overall, I would say social commerce is rocketing.
And I'm pretty sure with the COVID and everything who
Yeah.
happened on the past last years, you have seen
Yeah, of course, of course.
some.
And then sell remotely, right? When during COVID time, people don't go out as often, right? So brands have to look for a strategy to allow people to come in store, but then completing that transactions at home remotely, right? So that's why they want a solution to help them scale on that strategy, potentially reducing the frictions of customers transacting over remote channels, particularly social media channels as well. So that's why a one-click checkout solution is so important for them to scale in this manner.
Did you make some mistake when you started, or did it like some mistakes that you'd like to share with your with everyone listening this video, or about how you also overcome those mistakes and how you fix those issues?
Yes, of course. I mean, a founder could make a lot of mistakes. There are a couple, I would say. So first of all, I think hiring it's so important.
Mhm.
When I was working on the takeaway companies, there were only 3 people to start with, but then we scaled to 9 people in just 4 months. But at that time, we're bootstrapping. I'm using my own kind of money from the previous exits, etc. Then I just want to hire fast. I just want to hire people that I think I should hire. So I don't really spend much time in evaluating the culture fit, evaluating if we actually need that person. I just think I should scale fast, but not looking at what it could potentially bring me. So I think one big mistake I was making back in my kind of first company in Hong Kong is that I didn't pay so much attention into hiring. So for SleekFlow, I actually see every single person. So even right now, we have more than 120 people around the world. I literally talk to every single one of them. I actually evaluate on their attitude, on their skill sets, on their cultures, everything, right? So pay a lot of attention to hiring because hiring very good senior team leads could help you scale the whole organizations. And that's actually the foundation for you to grow.
As you mentioned about culture in enterprise, what is the culture in your company?
Sorry, can you repeat again?
What is the culture of your company?
Okay, so I mean, for our companies, we have something called culture cults. So for culture codes, it's something that every single employee should understand and then kind of follow that as well. So we kind of evaluate people based on that. So first of all, we look at collaboration. So I mean, every single time there are a task, we need people to kind of collaborate and work on the same thing. Some people would just kind of fight for their own self, but there are people who would come to always stand behind someone's back and complete that kind of task together. And I think adaptability is very important because in the startups, everything is changing. And how a startup actually excel and then be better than the alternatives, the competitors, is because they adapt fast. They change really fast and moving into the right directions, right? So don't be afraid to fail, but be adaptable and kind of go forward to the same goal. I think the third thing is very important is ownership. Having ownership in a startup is very important because you can't really say this is your task, this is my task, but more like I will have to complete this task no matter what it takes. And I want to take baby steps every day into making myself even a better person in the future. So I think all these kind of attitudes combine to the culture of SleekFlow.
Very cool, very cool. Where is your company based? Only in Hong Kong, or do you have also teammates overseas?
So we started in Hong Kong, but then we expanded to Singapore and Malaysia last year. This year we expanded into Indonesia, UK, and also to Brazil.
So those are also your markets.
Yeah, there are markets. We have sales rep there. We have operations there as well.
And if we can speak about like the company working with you, are they mostly here in Hong Kong, or are they also like in Singapore and all those countries right now?
Okay, so they're scattered around different countries: Hong Kong, Southeast Asia, Latin, EMEA, so everywhere. But I would say Hong Kong right now is still the biggest pie. But there is very often time the groups will just adopt other solutions and scale globally.
If we focus a bit on your customers, what kind of industry are they working on, and how do you segregate them by category or by figures?
So one big industry that we focus on is retail and commerce. So O2O, meaning online to offline, is a very, very big thing we focus on. Essentially, you have a bunch of physical stores, and then you also have your e-commerce running. And how do you enable kind of the brands to build their own channels and so on social media? It's very important. Let me name an example why this is important. So most of the time, the in-store agents don't want you to go online and buy because after checking so many products in store, and then you go back, you could just go to their Shopify site to complete their transaction, they're gonna hate you so bad because they don't get any commissions, they're not counted to their store revenue, etc. Right. So what our solution is helping is actually crediting these kind of in-store sales rep, allowing them to sell to customers even if the customers don't come to store. They are not kind of bounded by the traffic into the stores, but more like they can generate their own revenue. They can keep in touch with their friends and families and network and then generate revenue from that side. So that is very important thing. How we work on retails, boosting different kind of marketing automations for the commerce companies, allowing the customers to place order directly on WhatsApp, on Instagram. So
When I was making my research and when I prepared this interview with you, we also spoke about the beauty salons, industry,
yes.
education, and like luxury. Can you share a bit more about this as well, please?
Okay, so beauty and wellness is a big thing. People book classes on WhatsApp. People pay for packages on WhatsApp, and then people see different kind of testimonial ads on Instagram as well, and they just want to chat and understand more about the offerings, right? So, and different kind of healthcare beauty organizations, they have a lot of telesales or even beauty advisors actually use our platform and then use messaging to connect with their customers. And sometimes customers buy the whole package over WhatsApp. They send a payment link, boom, it's done. It's transacted, and then it's all recorded in the backend system. And we've got their preferences. We label them. We send them the engagement messages later on. So
Okay.
beauty, it's a big one. Education is a big one as well. Same as class booking. A lot of platform companies actually use our software as well, and it's huge in Singapore, in Malaysia. So platform companies like Shopify, Lala Move, Checkout.com, they use us for scaling their whole kind of omni-channel support journey as well. So yeah, I mean, we look on different industries.
If you work with a financial institution, how do you help them to rethink their product and services? And how does the collaboration working with you guys help the industry ecosystem to improve the customer journey?
Okay, so one thing that we work with larger financial institutions is actually on compliance. There are a lot of banks, FIs that actually use WhatsApp to talk to customers, but there are a lot of news coming out in the last couple of months saying that a lot of big banks were fined because they shouldn't use WhatsApp on a personal basis to sell to the customers. So we actually have banks to use our software as well to make sure they're using a proper enterprise level solutions and keep track of all their WhatsApp conversations to comply with the policies, etc. Right. So this is one thing that we work a lot with the financial institutions. Other thing we work with them is on our payment features. There are different local payment methods and how we enable them, potentially creating something called a virtual bank account for them to settle the money as well. So something that we work on as well.
Perfect, perfect. Do you also work on some hyper-personalization program when you work with those companies?
What's the program again?
Hyper-personalization, how to be closer to each customers, for example, for relationship manager or for anyone's interacting with a customer or corporate.
Okay, so personalization, right?
Yes.
Personalization, it's a very important thing into modern selling, right? We work with a lot of companies selling luxury goods. They don't want to talk to chatbots. They want to talk to people that actually know their behaviors. When you work into luxury brands like Chanel, like Hermes, these kind of things, and you go inside and say, "Hey, Medhy, welcome back," and then you feel very welcome, right? But actually, there are a lot of softwares behind the scene actually understanding that person behaviors, what he has bought before, etc. Right. So this is something we work a lot on, labeling customers based on their browsing behaviors, recording down their histories and synchronize to the CRMs as well. And then based on all these kind of metrics and segmentations, they can run automations and send different messages. So you find out that, oh, people actually know me. People actually send me the right message at the right time. But it's also work of an engine like SleekFlow.
There is an advertising that I really like. It's about banking. So you have a team of people robbing a bank, and when they go on the bank, their phone is connected to the Wi-Fi of the bank, and so they receive the bankers receive a notification of
Yeah.
the name of the guy doing the robbing,
Yeah.
and they say, "Oh, it's you, Mr. X. Oh, we have a specific loan for you. You can apply to it." And the people don't want to rob the bank anymore because they have that kind of hyper personalization. So it's
Yeah,
pretty
for sure.
interesting. Sorry. Quick question about the customers. Do you think they need some training sometime to understand how to use the solutions, or maybe to improve the onboarding, to improve the interaction with humans as well?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, training and onboarding is a big part of what we do as well. Um, I think fintech or in general technology in Hong Kong or in Asia requires educations. A lot of people get used to what they usually have, and then they just want to use their WhatsApp app to do everything, right? So I think onboarding them to actually unleashing the values of our software is a very important part. So that's why I think enterprise softwares like us focus a lot on consultations. We're not just a platform or a tool. We'll let them know how we can run different campaigns and promotions and actually have more volume transactions on our platforms with some hacks and advice. So, for example, there was something called consumption voucher before, and then we actually think about how we can boost kind of that redemption of vouchers in stores, right? So we run the campaigns on WhatsApp and WeChat, and then people can actually go through a couple of bots and then kind of claim different vouchers, yet talking to a real time agent, and then go to a store to redeem the coupon, and then have that transactions completed, right? So we run different campaigns. We get advisory on how they can have a better retail promotional strategy.
Do you think there is a fierce competition between company like yours and big corporate or big banks who want to work with you or maybe compete with you?
I won't say banks are competing with us. We work with a lot of banks and a lot of things. We are listed in a lot of toolbox in different banks, so they can provide solutions. They're their SME clients or enterprise clients as well. In terms of in general competition, there is a big market. So basically, a lot of people will try to go into that social commerce market. For us, it's more about how we can scale very fast into different continents, into different countries, and make sure we grab the biggest brands since day one and lock them down and then sell them more solutions, not just on messaging, on live streaming, on payments, on one click checkout, everything. So that's how we go to different markets.
There is any project who excites you a lot or make you very proud you can share with us?
Of course, of course. I think every single day I go to work, I feel very proud. I mean, having different kind of features launch in the past couple of months is actually very kind of encouraging. So when I started this company, I never actually thought we will be in the fintech space. We never thought we will be having so much revenue generated just from one single kind of payment transaction features. Uh, People in Hong Kong use a lot of apps for payments. Some small businesses have their app like for taking kind of payments from consumers, and then but it's very painful because in general the payment does not match with their orders. It's very hard for them to do refunds because they don't really map the conversations with that payment and transactions as well, right? So I think building that payment module is very exciting because we realize that it's not just a Asian problem, and then we're scaling to different kind of countries, continents. I think that part is very exciting. And then actually people coming to our office saying that, "Oh, thank you so much for that features. Because of that features, we're converting a lot of customers." We helped like a kind of a French patisserie company to actually convert like 2 times more revenue just a month because of our features. And they actually give us 2 cakes to say thank you so much for the software and everything. I think these kind of things lead to things of the most encouraging along this journey.
Ah, very cool. I like when you have story like this. Um, do you have any, for example, fun facts you can share with us, or some figures who can, like kind of not infographics you have in mind, but like couple of history you can share with us,
Well,
figures?
yeah, for sure. I think a lot of people ask about our fundraising process. So in Hong Kong, how could you actually get started and then go to C stage, Series A, Series B, and beyond, right? So for us, it's different because in general, when we started, we thought we are SaaS companies. It shouldn't be too hard to be profitable. So we decided to bootstrap at the first place. I think there one fun fact I can share regarding my fundraising journey. It's when we actually launched our software 2 years ago. We got our first customers actually from Malaysia, not from Hong Kong. We're very happy because despite seeing a lot of bugs when he tries to log in, try to add their channels in, try to pay for our software, they see every single obstacle because we just launched a beta, right?
Mm.
But then still, we were very happy to have him and then still with us after 2.5 years, right? But one interesting fact to share is there was a time I went to an investor matching session, and that was 2 months after we launched our software. And then I met investors. But investors ask, "So, how much revenue are you generating right now?" And I told him, "Yeah, I mean, we are very proud. We launched a product that people pay for it. Right now, we're generating around 2K Hong Kong dollars, so around 300 US dollars per month. So
Mhm.
that is very minimal because it's just started. But we have people paying for our software. I'm really happy to share that." And what he told me is, "Oh my god, it's fantastic, but it's just a little bit less than my mates." So that's what he told me. He is actually trying to offend me in his way. So I was thinking, okay, I want to scale the businesses. I just don't want to be just in Hong Kong. I want to scale back to 100 times to a million times, and then saying that this software is not just something that it's happening now, but it's gonna change in the future. I think that inspired me to go further and further and then work even harder in this journey of making the products better and better every day.
This is a good motivation, and well, it's a good motivation, definitely, yes. And can you elaborate a bit more how you, from this mindset, you came from the 2K per day to try to, have 10x or 100x more?
So after talking to these investors, I just told myself, work hard on the products, improve the products, make the best products possible, and people will come to you. And that's exactly what we do. Invest our time and resources into learning about customers' needs, and then actually go niche into retails. I think going niche is very important when a startup just gets started because you can't really be the big corporates and then compete with every single features. But then you have to be the leader in one single sectors. So for us, we choose retail and commerce, and then we drill so deep. We work on all the feature requests and making sure that we are giving the best values for retail and commerce companies, right? So we just work so hard and then get the anchor customers, create a lot of fantastic use cases, and then we scale to like the same kind of companies in the same industries, right? Uh, at the end of the year, so we actually joined a startup competition that's called Jumpstarter in Hong Kong, and then we didn't win the competition, but then at a very early stage, I was matched with people from Alibaba.
Okay,
They
cool.
really like our solutions. They think it's the next thing in commerce, where Alibaba is actually a very big players in the commerce space. We're really happy because it's the first time we actually get to talk to a institutional investors, and they love our idea. Yeah, and then that's when we decided to raise our first round. That has actually changed my mindset. I changed my mindset to be more aggressive. There was an example. If you have $1 and then now you are making $2, traditional company may think about how to make $10 out of the $1, right? So they want to make more money with the same kind of capitals. But if you have VC back, if you want to be more aggressive and scale, you should think about, instead of having $1, you're now having $100 and making $200, $1,000 making $2,000, right? So you are multiplying that returns. You're not just chasing after unit economy, but you are scaling the holdings. I think that has changed my mindset. That has allowed me to become more aggressive, going into new markets in just the second year of launching my businesses.
Very cool story. If anyone wants to try the solution, what is the best way? They have to reach out to you. There is a website they can try. There is maybe an app they can try.
So it's very easy. So for SleekFlow is actually a freemium model. So that means you can actually get started with a free version and then pay to upgrade to a premium plan. So feel free to go to our website, sleekflow.io, SleekFlow.io. Go there and then check out on our offerings, get started, book a sales demo, and know if it's a great fit for you.
Perfect, perfect. We are close to the end of this interview, so I would like to ask a couple of more questions about
Sure.
what you are doing and what you like as a person, right? Do you have any books that you recommend to anyone, or maybe podcasts you recommend to anyone?
Okay, so the first book that I actually read when I started my own company is Lean Startup. It's a very, very good book because it changed your mindset on creating things. I think a lot of people, when they just get started, they're overly ambitious. They just want to do so many things. They think they're capable of launching hundreds of features in a short, very short period of time. But I think the Lean Startup actually tell you the correct mindset and to finding the great products, finding that product market fit, building the great team. So this is a book that actually changed how I look at startups, right? Second thing is actually about it's called Atomic Habits. I think a lot of people have heard that books. It's a fantastic book. So that book has actually taught me about how small things, small changes in life could lead to drastic kind of innovation in different parts of your life. So yeah, I mean, that's actually something very inspiring, not just on changing my own habits and allow myself to become a better person, but more about how I could do small things every single day, give a compliment to a person and then make his life better. And he will actually spread that positive energy to different people as well, right? So I think that has changed how I become a founder and how I treat other people as well. So these two books are very fantastic books.
Perfect. What is next for you as a person, but also as a founder of a company?
In terms of the companies, right? So we are going into a lot of countries. So one of the very key market that we're very excited about, it's going to Brazil.
Wow,
Yeah, I
cool.
think a lot of people will imagine a local Hong Kong company or even Asian company will go to Brazil in the early stage, but it has proven to be a very great market for us. People in Brazil love using WhatsApp. I mean, WhatsApp is a single tool that they actually use. When they go into internet, they don't use emails that much. They use WhatsApp to talk to their friends. They use WhatsApp to do every single thing to make orders and make purchases, right? But the hard things for us is Brazil, Hong Kong, 11, 12 hours apart. So when I wake up, they start to go to bed, right? So it's a very hard thing to work on at the first place. But I think hiring really good people and then actually have them to back us to go into the market is very important. So I'm actually making a trip to Brazil, first time to Latin America, seeing a lot of different people, a lot of very fantastic investors are there as well. Learning about the ecosystem, learning about the culture there, it's something that very exciting for me as well. As a person myself, I still want to work with a lot of things. I think I want to be pushing this further and further because when I started this company, people thought it's just a space that you could generate, let's say, 100 millions every year. And then the next round, people ask, is this something that you can generate 500 millions a year? Is this something that you can generate 10 billions a year? So I think the ceiling is really high. I want to push further and further and then not limiting my vision to just this kind of expansion plan. I want to be even more aggressive. I want to be work on different things that actually help merchants connect with their customers. So I think the roadmap of SleekFlow is very exciting, and it's not just limited to just 3 to 5 years, but more like 10 to 20 years.
It's pretty impressive that you're going to Latin America, because it's really rare to see a company from Asia
Yeah,
going in this market, and
yeah,
the market looks really promising as well. When we spoke also before this interview, you mentioned also about Indonesia, right? So you
yes.
are trying to push also in Indonesia?
Yes, Indonesia, it's a big country as well. A lot of people are there, and then Indonesia, it's a country that people love to do commerce and transactions on WhatsApp. So, for example, WhatsApp launched a feature that allow people to do grocery shipping just right on the fingertips on WhatsApp. They could also do route hailing. They could actually get a cab just on WhatsApp as well. So these kind of behavior is very common in Indonesia as well. So, I mean, Indonesia is a country that we're also very excited about. So, yeah, I mean, going to Jakarta with the team is something that I'm really excited about as well.
Perfect, perfect. Where people can learn more about you and the company?
I mean, feel free to Google anything about SleekFlow, learn more about social commerce, or feel free to just add me into LinkedIn. And then I'm very happy to talk to you about all my experiences, about social commerce, and about like my vision for the landscape.
Perfect. Thank you very much for this interview. It was great to have you. We learned a lot today. So
Thank you
I'm
so
very
much,
grateful
Medhy.
for this. Thank you very much. Have a nice day.